right, hello everybody. We're going to get right into December's recap, December 2021. It's been a while since I've done an upload. I think I'm going to cease doing a daily recap and just stick to weekly and monthly. That way I don't feel too overwhelmed, along with day-to-day life and trading on top of that. So it's already January 2022. We'll go ahead and finish up for 2021 here. You could see on the screen my overall view of December 2021, how I did. Month total, just overtraded in December, 61 trades. That just seems like a lot. And as you could see, the third and fourth weeks, my win percentage was just super low. So that just shows that just taking a lot of non-ideal trades. A lot of times I should have just been sitting on my hands and just gave a lot back. So good lessons. I'll just scroll through really quick and see if there's anything that I can throw out there that I can learn from. Purple is a mental trade, so I didn't really trade the first week there, but let's run through. I mean, just a lot of midday uh, non-ideal setups. I mean, I really should just be waiting, and that's what I'm going to try and do this month, January, and this year. Focus on just the best stuff. Um, because why bother with with these small potential gains when I mean, 1% type of thing. Why bother with that? Wait for it to break out. Wait for it to show that it's going to run or that it's going to break down if you're thinking of a short. Um, so I mean, this one's not bad. Panic dip by just under 3%. I mean, stuff like that. That's what I want to look for. Max panic or nearing a breakout, putting in higher lows, putting in all the signs that you'd like to see. Yeah, I mean just, buying into chop, buying into chop, buying into chop. I mean, this one at OWUV could have set up if I purchased it later on. For this spike here when it was nearing this break, putting in these higher lows in this area, that would have been a good buy, and then sell into this supernova type of spike, intraday spike. Um, and that could have been a good, what is that? Probably 20% or so, a little bit more than that even, if you were to take all the move there. This is what I'm talking about right here. IMGN. I did miss this, but I mean that is all chop, you know. So wait for it to break and then buy on the break. So yeah, small percentage. I mean you have to be aware of how far it already came. It would be nice if it were to spike and then dip down, consolidate a bit, or consolidate near the highs, but it just broke through, so I decided to jump in that one. Let's see. Buying into chop, yeah, it was a decent percent, but you know, chop, nothing but chop. This video, I'm just going to be saying chop a lot. Um, Buying into chop, this was putting in higher lows, and I just got shaken out. You know, so I really need to focus on the overall picture here. And see that this thing, IGN, it seemed like it was holding these highs. And I should have widened my risk a little bit, but I got too nervous and I cut it. Small loss, not a big deal, dollar amount wise, but um, and I missed out on the break. So good lessons. Let's see. Chop. Why even bother with a bunch of these trades? And that's why I've kind of fallen behind. I knew in December I was kind of disappointed in myself for um, among being busy and such, but I was disappointed in myself for just taking stuff that's just not ideal, and I knew it just wasn't good. Um, this is a good example, a little bit of a late buy, but I mean waited for the confirmation of a break, and if this thing pushed higher, then there you go. But We got a nice 4% there, not too bad, and just quick pops. That's what I should be looking for, stuff like that. So that's the first week there. The first day I only did the mental trades. I thought it was the first week, but so we'll move on to the second week. I'm just rushing through this one. I'm going to be filming the January first week of January after this video, and I'll get into detail about my trades more. But I just want to kind of get this one out there and be done with it. And I mean, this is exactly what I'm talking about. You know, ISIG, I perfectly holding. You know, putting in these highs, um, right at a key area. If you look at the overall chart, and I mean, yeah, hindsight's 2020, but you know, it's holding VWAP. It pushed it pushed the this resistance level. Um, why am I selling here? You know, I mean, I could see selling maybe a piece on the confirmation of the breakout just to take some profits there. You know, because I mean, yeah, 10%, but look at where it went. You know, I mean, that could have been a that was a potential 30, 40, maybe even 50%. Where did I get in here? 7, and it spiked up to, yeah. So I mean, that could have been 40%, 30%. Take me to the move. I need to watch for these supernova pushes, you know, these parabolic, maybe I shouldn't say supernova, these parabolic pushes. Um, I get too caught up in the minute by minute, and I really should just let these trades play out. And and as you can see on this chart later on, I mean, it pushed 16. So I mean, you know, I just sold way too soon in here. Um, Just no excuse for that, and I just need to recognize a good pattern when it's there. I get too invested in the chop, and then when I get into a good pattern, I have the same mindset of being in a choppy play. It's just not, that doesn't work. It's not going to be sustainable for trading. So just good lessons, something to think about. Again, I mean, ISIG, I think I've talked about this in previous videos, but you know, at least I bought on this break that it was holding, but I made 5%. Excuse me, I made 5% on this, but why did I even bother selling? You know, I could have sold half. You know, I mean, it's a NASDAQ play. I don't have to worry about commissions. You know, I could have sold half. I could have re-entered here on this higher low. There's so many ways that I could have done better on this. So, um, just a good lesson. ISIG, I took this spike when it seemed to be holding. So, you know, that was a decent play. Um, and then I played it later on in the day. But I mean, into chop. You know, what's my strategy here? There's no edge. There's no strategy. It's just at this point gambling. So, you know, why are you going to give back some of your gains? Um, Again, you know, may have been a good percent gain. I mean, I recognize that it was holding this area here, but at the same time, I mean, you're buying right at the open. At least I took profits quickly, so you know that's what you want. You want to, if you're buying right at the open, you're looking for a quick move. So I can't really criticize that too much. I mean, I took a realistic profits right at the red to green from the previous day, so I can't be upset about this one. But this one I can be. You know, why bother getting in it again? You know, this is, so excuse me, that's not the same ticker there. But you know, it already had a spike. Why am I buying in at the top of the spike here? So overtrade, overtrade. I mean, buying into this chop, and you know, just doesn't make sense. You know, and it kind of screwed me over. I don't think later on, yeah, later on, I don't think I did buy into this, but you know, why even bother? You know, it could break down. It could. There's so many potential alternatives to what could happen. I mean, it just so happened it spiked here, but you know, what if it didn't? It could have just broken down, and that could have been it. I mean, look at all these previous days, one-day spikers. Look at all these top wicks. You know, so I don't know why I'd be wasting my time here. At least I took a small loss and acknowledged that, but um, you know, I really should have maybe even entered right into here when it broke. Um, or when it was putting in these higher lows. I just was way too early entering right after a crack, and that made me impatient with the sell. Let's see. Over trading in the chop, you know, I didn't wait for a confirmation of a breakout here, and then I wrote it too long. You know, bad trade. This one I can't be too upset. I was trying to be a little bit more patient, but I mean, this is a vertical spike. I should have taken some off here. Um, and with the previous day being very top wiki and this one not really reaching that, I mean, what do you expect? You know, consolidation. Why am I buying in here? There's no reason to buy in here. I'm not patient enough. Small losses add up. Buying into strength, selling into weakness. Not a good play. Um, I don't really have much to say about this one. I mean, cars. I probably shouldn't have entered there. Right from the start, 3 minutes after market open. But you could have entered after the break. You could have entered on the push past VWAP, risking this low. I mean, there's so many better alternatives to entry other than where I got in. So, good lesson there. This was a good one, put in a double bottom. Um, it tanked hard in pre-market, and I wanted to see if it could hold this key area that, as you can see on this daily chart, that it seems to be a previous resistance area. So it did double bottom, and I just took realistic profits into where it opened. So good. That's a good trade. Again, into chop. Why bother? Wait for it to, if you're going to risk your money, why are you going to risk it in something that hasn't proven itself? Wait for it to go one way or the other, and try to take an advantage, try to see an edge. But there's no edge in this play. I'm just seeing a lot of trades I just shouldn't be taking. Let's see. This one, why bother selling here? Yeah, it was top wicked right there, but I was just too impatient. You know, um, I mean, it has a history of pushing one day. As you can see here, one day. So I should have given it a little bit more time, but still took over 4%. Not bad on that one. At least with this, it was holding VWAP, and then continued to push the resistance and putting in these higher lows. So um, my risk was probably VWAP on this one. So that's not a bad one. I probably should have been waiting for a confirmation of a break instead of buying before the break, but it depends on what the time and sales look like. Um, I mean, really, I could have bought on the confirmation and sold up into here. That would have been a better percentage gain, and it would have been a confirmation of a breakout instead of having to wait and see if it was going to break out. So good lesson. Chop. Buying into this chop. No reason that I should be entering in these trades, especially after, look at the overall trend, downtrend. So why even bother? At least I took some percentage, some profit up in here, but I got caught in that major sell-off. But if you look, I mean, I guess you see that more later on, but I mean, it has these gradual uptrends and then just hard sell-offs. So to me, that's a sign that, somebody's just, or somebody or some group is just massively selling into this thing, and it's probably from this previous green day here. Just trying to take out into a pop, or somebody has some shares unrestricted, something like that. But just I got to take profits, and I got to stop trading in this chop. Keep saying it over and over. Again, chop. Why bother? Where's the edge? You're assuming that it might hold this resistance line, but what if it doesn't? You're gonna why even bother with a 3% loss when you could be watching for another play? Same thing here, buying into what I thought was consolidation, getting caught in a dip. I mean, why even bother in here? It's under VWAP. If you're going long, I'm learning that I should probably just wait until a stock is above VWAP to even bother with it. And I could have bought on this second break of VWAP right here, maybe into here, and then held and risked VWAP, and that would have been a nice percentage gain. But I get in too early, and then I take it off my radar because I'm upset that I lost on it. So just good lessons reviewing these trades. I know I'm going through these quick. Um, see. Chasing a morning spike, but at least I'm taking a realistic profit. Um, but why even bother chasing? It did run pre-market, and yeah, I'd like to see if it could break this previous resistance, but at least I took it off when it top wicked and came back down. So not bad there. Over trading, why even bother? It couldn't break that. Wait until it comes back up. I mean, you're under VWAP now, for sure now. So why even bother trading it again? You're just giving back your gains. Look at that, giving back all my gains in this into this chop. Why bother? Why bother? So again, giving back all my gains just because I'm upset that I lost on it. And I want it to do what I want it to do what I want, and that's just not how these things work. So, you know, why? Why buy, sell, sell, sell? Just doesn't make sense, especially when you look at. I mean, yeah, I drew this trend line, but if you were to just draw a line, this is basically complete sideways price action. There's no edge. So why even bother taking a couple cents here or there? Um, Chop, bad trade, just chop. So that's the second week. I mean, I can see a theme here. I just keep buying in this chop. We'll try to run through this week here too. This was another week where I was down. I mean, previous week I made so many trades, but only 48%. And I mean, look at this week, 17%. Why even bother? I should have sat on the sidelines way more than this. Um, buying right out at the gate, and then selling. It didn't even break this this low here. I should have given it a little bit more time, but I really should not have even entered. Um, where I sold probably could have been an entry because I could have thought that was a double bottom and then sold into a quick pop when it couldn't break where it opened. That would have been at least a small gain. But where I bought, just no edge, thinking that it's going to reclaim VWAP. And if that's what I think it's going to do, at least wait for it to do it instead of entering as quickly as I can. And same thing here. Let's see, I sold 935 and then I bought down in here, and I just didn't like it, and I sold because it just slightly broke that level. But this is a Nasdaq play. It's going to be more choppy. So and then look at that. It broke VWAP, and then I got stopped out here. So just choppy plays. I'm realizing I'm not great with Nasdaq, or at least I just get too nervous because they chop so much. And then at least I took advantage of this. I mean, I could have bought it on this break of VWAP, but I wanted a confirmation past where it opened in this previous high. It was a little late. I could have bought in, probably in here or so. But, decent gain there, so not bad. Again, chop. Why would I buy a couple minutes after where it sat, where it spiked to? I mean, this thing could just come right back down. Um, and I mean, look at this overall chart. I mean, where's it going to go? I mean, it could go a little bit further. Let's see, where did I get into it? 8. I mean, this is pretty much in the nines, but I mean, look at all this area here. Just not a great overall chart, but it is what it is. And I was dealing with some family stuff this week, or this month rather, so we got that all sorted out. Everything's okay, but refusal to take profits into strength, and taking a loss. So just bad lesson, or bad trade, good lesson. Choppy, why bother? Choppy, why bother? Why bother? Chop again, why bother? I'm seeing a trend here. At least AXXA here. I was looking, put in some higher lows after this panic. Um, I didn't get the low, but I got towards the low, and I was risking that. And I sold when it was looking a little toppy. So decent little gain, but um, and no problem there. I mean, I waited for the reversal, and that's what I'm talking about. You want these extreme moves, this extreme panic or something sitting near the highs that you can take advantage of. Why? Why bother here? Why even bother? I mean, here, obviously hindsight 2020, I should have recognized that, yeah, my entries weren't ideal, but at least it was holding this level, and I could have had a risk of VWAP, something, but I just get too nervous when I keep adding into these plays, and they don't do what I want exactly when I want them to, and this would have been a great percent gain. I mean, best case scenario, I mean, it closed at 34, but I probably would have been selling into here if I even held through all this. But I mean, 10%, I mean 28 to 34, that's what, almost 20%, around 20% or so. So, just leaving a lot on the table on these good plays and playing way too much in the chop, wasting too much time in this chop. Just something I personally struggle with all the time. And I just got to get better and recognize it, get better and get better every day. Let's see, why bother? I could have bought here and I should have sold right here, but instead I refused to acknowledge that it wasn't holding, and I added. And then look at that, it cracked, and I took a larger loss than I should have, when I could have taken a nice little gain. Why bother? Under VWAP, not even near the highs, no, closing in on red to green. Where do you think it's going to go? So, all these losses are well deserved, but again, at least on this one, it did push, and I wanted it to hold trend. But I refused to cut here. I should have cut my losses. I should have taken, well, I mean, I don't blame myself for not taking profits, but it didn't reach the high. You had a hard crack. I mean, you should think about getting out here if it's not doing what you want. And instead, I just decided to hold and wait. And at least I sold because it did crack, and I finally talked some sense into myself. But all this is just pain that I'm putting onto myself for no reason. It defies logic. I should have been selling into this here. I was thinking it might hold, so I was waiting for that gain, and or I should have been out into here at least. I mean, because I understand that I was trying to, I was thinking it might hold this support level, but once it cracked hard here, that's when I should have been out right into here. Um, I wanted to see if it could bounce, but there was no bounce and I got out. Now that I'm reviewing these, I'm remembering what I did. I wanted to see if it would bounce since it cracked so hard, but sometimes it's going to be like that. But really, if I was going for a trend trade, I should have been out on the trend. I shouldn't have changed my thesis mid trade to say, well, it cracked trend, but now that it's below that, I'll just wait for a bounce. That's not how trading works. You go into a trade with a plan and you stick to the plan regardless. So that's just how it is. Again, let's see. Why even bother in here? Where's your edge? You got all this little overhead resistance up here. At least you should wait. I mean, hindsight, yeah, 2020, but I'm trying to figure out. This is a difficult one. I mean, really, I probably shouldn't even have been trading it. I mean, if you look at the overall picture, um, let's see, overall, this is a tough one, But really, if you think about where's the edge is you want to see if it can break these highs. Everywhere else between here and red to green, this is just chop. So, is this ideal? No. Should I have been trading it now that I really think about it? No. You know, you should have been thinking about maybe at 2 o'clock when it's closing in on these highs. Okay, let's see if it can reach those, and what will it do if it reaches them? But in here, that's the problem. Why bother? You wait for something to either break out or break down if you're thinking of going short for whatever reason, or a panic and you're trying to play for a bounce. But just no reason I should be doing this stuff. Not taking profits into strength. you know, I think that's, yeah, this is the same one the next day. Um, it's just not, top wicks here, top wicks here. So, I should have been taking profits when it was doing that exact thing, especially into this lower high. And instead, I just didn't even take it into this. I mean, you could draw a perfect trend line here, and then it cracked off. I mean, just bad trades, undisciplined trades. I need to do way better. Let's see. At least I took profits here, but this is kind of a difficult one. Um, I mean, if you look at this 15 minute here, the real play was when it was breaking six in here. This is what you want right here. You want something that, you know, spikes up, consolidates. Look at this beautiful consolidation around VWAP, coiling around VWAP and then holding above, then not touching, putting in these higher lows, and right into here is where you want to be buying, you know. But, I acknowledge that I missed that. It dipped hard, so I bought the dip and sold into some pop. But, I mean, where do you expect it to go? I mean, if I look at the overall chart, yeah, you could say that, maybe now that it's broken out of this range, it has some room to go. So at least I took off into some strength. Small gains are okay. Small losses are okay. And at least I acknowledge that it just wasn't breaking because I mean, look what it did. Went right back to the breakout level here. So that's okay. This one I got a little too greedy, thinking that it was putting in these higher lows, but I did take it off because I acknowledged it just wasn't pushing. And even when I bought, I was like, I said to myself that was probably not a good entry. Um, at that point, if there's no hard crack like I bought here and then selling into these pops, you want to buy on a confirmation of a breakout. You don't want to be anticipating. So what's another 10 cents or 20 cents of a $7 stock when you think the stock's going to go another dollar? So undisciplined, just undisciplined trades. Why? Why bother? This is just a stupid trade. You think just because it dipped to some some level like VWAP, it might hold and bounce. There's just no reason for that. Just undisciplined. Um, but that's okay. No one was excellent when they first started. I just have to acknowledge that and do better. Uh, this was a panic. That's okay. I should have sold all into the pop. But I've been trying to get in the habit of selling half because these things run a lot further than I would think. Um, and then I don't know. I mean, you really can't say I should have done this or that, hindsight. But I think it was good buying on this dip here or this panic here, because that's clearly a support lot or area near 18 or just under 18. Sold half. I mean, you know, I was expecting it to at least come to VWAP or something like that, and then sell the other half. So I can't really fault myself, but I really should have sold it when it failed. Um, See, but then again, it cracked so quickly. I just wanted to average down a little bit, and then when it didn't bounce for sure, then I took it all off. So I can't really fault myself there. Um, Again, thought it bottomed, sold it quick, so small loss there. Really should be a little bit more patient, especially when I don't get what I want the first time. Um, these things can go way further than you'd expect. I mean, look at how far this thing cracked downward in 2 days. So just have to be careful. You don't want to catch a falling knife here. But on the third try, I finally got it. I missed the initial one, but realized to put in this higher low, so I said, let me play it for a bounce. And just sold way too quick, way too soon. I mean, yeah, 5, 7, and 10%, but you know, I should have been selling it 10, 20, and then maybe 30%, 40%. I mean, look at this. It even reclaimed VWAP. So selling way too soon into these things. And that's a theme, this month you'll see when I do my next video for this week, or last week rather. That's just been a theme. plenty of panics because of the overall market, and I have just been selling them, buying them great, but selling them way too soon. So I have to learn that when these bottoms are in, just let some of it ride, let it go, because these things can really move. But I'm not gonna scoff at 5 to 10% gains here. Um, why bother? Looking at these, why bother? So at least I'm acknowledging these big mistakes I'm making. Why get in here? You know, bad trade. I was actually over. My wife and I were visiting our friends, and um, was that this day? No, that was the day before. Excuse me. And I knew I screwed this up. You know, I was just too eager to get in. I wanted a morning breakout. I thought that it was going to push. We had some consolidation. I thought this was going to be a second green day and push and sky's the limit and let's go. But it's not if it breaks the level, it's how does it react at that level? And that's just something I haven't gotten yet. And then I sold into weakness, when really I should have been risking the open, because I mean you're down this much, you might as well risk an actual level. Um, but I acknowledged that and I bought on the break again and sold into a quick little pop. You know, just I could just improve so much more. And then again, excuse me, this is a different ticker here, CNGT. See, this is what I'm talking about. You can see this getting chipped away on the ask, and it did run, touched resistance once, came down, had support, touched resistance again, came down, had support, and now touch resistance again. And this was eaten through the ask, so I just jumped in and sold it into strength. I mean, this is a good trade, 18 or 11 to 18%. For my sells, that's what I need to do. You focus on when it's near highs of the day, or multi-day, multi-month, multi-week, whatever you want to say, multi-year highs. That's your edge. Me getting in these midday consolidation areas for a 2% scalp, why even bother? You're just risking, your small account. You're going to take small losses more than you're going to take, small gains. So why bother? This is what you need to look for. And I was realistic because it was, if you look at this, I mean, look at where resistance was. And I was realistic to take some. Really, I probably should have taken, eh, why say should, but, I took profits into here, let the other bit ride. It came down a little bit, and then when it couldn't even touch that previous resistance that I knew was back here, I sold it. So that's what you need to do right there. That's what I need to focus on. That's trading. This one again, ABB. I mean, I'm looking for this thing tanked, so I'm looking for a reversal. Um, there's really not much I can say about this one. I mean, why bother? You're gonna. What's the best case scenario here? You got overhead resistance. I mean, you're in this range here. I mean, especially if you're looking for a quick pop like I was, just 1%, 2%. Why bother? Why bother? $1,000 position for 1%. What's the whole point there? But that's just how we improve. We realize where we're screwing up. Um, I guess that's all I have to say on that. I mean, this is just illiquid. Just a tough one to review. I mean, should I even have been trading it really? Doesn't really look like it. Where's the edge here? But I mean, unless it looks like this might be where it broke out and then consolidated. So I mean, if you're thinking it could push, yeah, but after this 1 minute crack that hard down back into this kind of area, yeah, you should be selling into this, or at least I would want to be taking my profits, even though it was a small profit. Um, Refusal to sell into strength here. I was a little late on the buy. This one I was over my friend's house. This is what I was trying to say earlier. I missed three great plays because I only had one position, because I only had like 600 bucks cleared in the account. And I missed three plays prior to this that ran 10 to 30%, and I was kind of upset, internally at myself for missing those plays because I didn't want to waste my capital. And I looked away from the screen for a little bit, and that's when this thing broke out. It broke out in here, and then I was really, kicking myself for missing this. I was thinking about getting in right in here, and I decided to chase a little bit, and that's, I should have taken it all off into here, and I just didn't take it off. And then in here, I should have taken it off when it was putting in these lower highs, and 7.5 was clearly the support, and I just didn't. And that's what I get, 15% loss, just unacceptable, unacceptable um, refusal to take profits when they're there, um, especially with this overall chart. I mean, just insane. You know, Clearly this thing's ran a bunch that day from 2 to where I bought at 8. I mean, just insane. So how much further do you think it's going to go? These things can go, but be realistic when it does look toppy like this. I mean, so that was a very upsetting trade for me because I knew I should have done better. But that's pretty much December. I know I ran through all of those really quick. I really should have focused on the best percent gains and losses, but I kind of just wanted to run through them for myself because I know I haven't reviewed December too well. Um, and I knew it was a rough month for me. Uh, I mean, without commissions, I ended up making 92 bucks, but if you include commissions, I lost 140. So eventually, commissions will be negligible. It won't be a big deal because it's all about the process. And once that capital, or once your position size gets to a point where the commissions aren't even a thought, it's about the process. But I could see here that my process just isn't there. It just isn't there. I need to improve. I just need to do better and stop over trading so much. There's no reason I should be taking over 60 trades, especially with, you know, I mean, a 48%, 17, and 13. I want to be over 50%. I mean, that right there, I want to be over 50. 71%, great. 67, great. Um, because even with a 48, you can still make money. But, you know, just rough. Just a rough month, and I just know I could do better than that. So, uh, if you stuck around all 40 minutes here, thanks a lot. I know I ran through those a lot, really quick. My next video, I'll slow it down so I can get through all my trades for the week. But thanks a lot, guys.